Okay, so I thought I'd do a video on the time I was really stupid and had to get mountain rescued off the side of a hill. And while I do that, I'm going to show off my little stove here. This is my gas stove. This is one I use when I'm not using the Trangia, because I don't really use the Trangia that much after I bought this. So yeah, it's a nice stove actually. It's pretty good. I think I've got enough gas left for a coffee. We'll see. So yeah, one day I decided to go on a walk quite late at night. Well, late in the afternoon. It was about February time, so it was still getting dark around 5 or 6 o'clock, and I set off maybe about 2 or 3. I was trying to get to a town on the opposite side of the moors to me, and basically what happened was I snapped my ankle. And my phone had about 15% battery left in it. So I was walking along, as you do in the middle of the night, using my flashlight to see where I was going, and I misplaced and stuck my foot in a rabbit hole because I couldn't see where I was going, and my leg went funny, ankle snapped, immense pain, absolutely, probably almost as bad as appendicitis pain, which is really bad, which is, if you've ever had appendicitis, you know how bad that is. And I instantly knew I couldn't walk out. I wouldn't be able to make my way out of there. I was stuck there. So with the small amount of battery I had left, I turned on my location, made sure it was shareable, rang the police and asked for mountain rescue. They put me through to mountain rescue, and they were basically like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "Well, I'm between this mast and this hill." Because I was in between sort of this valley between these two hills. So I told them my location. I got my what 3 words up, and they didn't take what 3 words. They didn't. I think it's called what 3 words. You know the app where it's 3 words and it tells you exactly where you are within a 3-meter square. They didn't take that. That didn't work. So they had to do a special thing where they sent me a text, and I clicked on the link, and it sent my location via my web browser to the mountain rescue people. So this was all in about 15 minutes. My phone was dying. It was now on about 9% battery after being on the phone for a while. And they had my location, and it started to rain, and the temperature dropped quite rapidly. It started to rain quite heavily. So I threw my poncho on. I was fully prepared, by the way. I had everything. I had everything there that I needed to. If I had to stay the night there, I could have. But it started to rain, and I was shivering, and I didn't have any gloves actually, so that was a bit stupid. But I was shivering. I was freezing, and I was shivering. I was freezing. I was cold as hell. I was wet, and I was getting prepared to spend the night there because they basically couldn't find me. They sent up the mountain rescue team, and they couldn't figure out exactly where I was they knew where I was, but they couldn't figure out exactly where I was. So I started blowing on my whistle. They rang me and they were like, "We're here." They rang me, "We're here, we're near where the GPS ping was, and we're going to start looking for you now." So I started blowing on my whistle. The wind started picking up. The wind was just blowing. It was getting underneath my poncho. It was wicking all the sweat away. I was starting to freeze. I was shivering. My fingers were absolutely numb. They were completely useless. My fingers had never been that cold before in my life. They were completely just stiff, and I couldn't move them at all. So I was like holding my phone in the palm of my hand, using my nose to answer the call, and like trying to press buttons using my nose, because thankfully I was like keeping my nose warm by blowing on it. Yeah, they got there. They got near me. So I started blowing on my survival whistle, blowing. And I was there for maybe an hour or two before they found me. What happened was I got my Nebo flashlight out with the red flashing mode on. This was ages ago, so I can't really remember all that well. I got my Nebo flashlight out with the red flashing mode on, and I held that in the air. I started twisting it round so it flashed in every direction. And they rang me again, and they were like, "There's a red flashing light. Is that you?" And I was like, "Yes. Oh my God, yes, that's me. That's me. I still couldn't move at this point, so I couldn't go towards whatever flashlights, because I could see flashlights and stuff in the distance. So I couldn't walk towards them. My ankle was still buggered at that point. So I was like, "Yes, oh my God, that's me. Holy hell, please come and get me." So I could see this flashlight snaking towards me. And within 20 minutes of me turning the light on, they'd gotten to me. Survival whistle was completely useless in the wind and the rain, so keep that in mind, I guess. It was completely useless. I was like, "Oh my God, did you hear the whistle?" And they were like, "No, we didn't know there was a whistle going on." So I was like, "Oh, great, okay, so what's the point of carrying a survival whistle?" So these flashlights made their way towards me, and I was there. They were there. So they approached me and they were like, "What's your name? How are you doing? All this." And I was like, "I'm not doing great. I can't. My ankle had swollen up and I was already starting to bruise already, and it was massive. My ankle was. So I had to take my boot off. They were going to cut the boot off, and I was like, "No, save my boot, save my boot." So I undid the laces. They undid the laces, and I kicked the boot off into the night. I got it back later, but I kicked it off. They looked at it and said, "Yeah, you're not walking out of here." So they brought a stretcher down from the Land Rover that they had, and they hoisted me onto it. Well, I sort of sat on it like that, laid down in it. They put me in a buffalo bag because the temperature had dropped down into the minuses by now. It was heavily raining, even more. They put me in this buffalo bag, which kept me nice and warm, and then they brought out this big orange Sol, like a Sol tent, like a Sol survival bag. I don't know if it was Sol, but they brought out this big tent that they put over with 5 or 6 people. They put it over us, and they zipped me up, and they carried on working. And they had this big canister of laughing gas, so I was taking puffs off of that. They had this thing that was a fentanyl lollipop, so I was sucking on that, and that sort of made the pain die away. But the only thing that made appendix pain go away was morphine, and this fentanyl lollipop, which is 10 times as powerful as morphine, wasn't touching my ankle. So I was like, "Wow, my ankle's messed up. My ankle's fucked. I'm not going to be able to walk out of here." So they hoisted me onto the thing, zipped me up, and they were sort of discussing between them. They were like, "Are we going to be able to carry him out? I'm a fat bastard, so I can understand why they didn't want to carry me out." So eventually the talk came of getting a helicopter. So I was like, "Oh my God." They radioed home base, and they were like, "We're going to have to get an ambulance ready up this side road. We're going to need to get an air ambulance in." We're going to have to get an air ambulance in. It's going to be the whole shebang. So I laid there. I was about an hour or two before they found me, and then I was laid there for about an hour before the helicopter had come down. And then so I hear this. I'm like, "Oh my God, yes, that's the helicopter. Thank God I can get out of here." And the helicopter, and it couldn't land because the ground was too soggy and too uneven, so it sort of hovered slightly this far above the ground. They lifted me into the helicopter, and I was helicoptered maybe half a mile to an ambulance. But they put goggles on me and earmuffs on me as the helicopter was throwing rain everywhere. It was whipping up wind, and it was getting through the buffalo bag. Now it was so cold. So I get into the air ambulance. the guy there is really nice. He's like, "How you doing? You know, what have you done?" Would be, you know, through like shouting like "Rah!" like that, but like trying to have a normal like, we're going to get you back safe, and it was like, because it was like inside this helicopter. So they closed the door and it was slightly quieter. So it was like we're talking, and I was like, "Thank you." I don't know if you heard me because it was so loud, but they put the headphones on me to stop me from going deaf. Basically, they put goggles on me. They had me zipped up in the buffalo bag. Still, I went up in the air. I don't remember much because I was high as balls off the fentanyl lollipop at that point. I remember going maybe half a mile, they said, and I landed and was transported to the back of an ambulance. I went to hospital. But yeah, that's what happened. Basically, I got stuck. I buggered my ankle. Realised I was either going to have to spend the night there or get rescued, and I decided that I wasn't going to spend the night in a rainstorm at minus sleeping in a sleeping bag rated for 5 degrees. I was planning on going to this town and getting a taxi back, or staying in the churchyard or something like that. So a bit less cold, but right up on the moors, wind whipping around you gets down to the minuses. It's really bad. So I just decided that I didn't want to have to risk spending the night up on a mountain with not on a mountain, up on a big hill. It's almost a mountain because we're at quite high elevation here. Up there, I didn't want to spend the night up there in that freezing weather because I probably would have gotten hypothermia. I didn't want to risk it. So I rang Mountain Rescue and they come and got me. Yeah, it was a hell of an experience. They were really nice, the blokes and the ladies, and whatever. They were really nice, whoever they were. They kept me talking. I was apologising all the time. I was constantly apologising, saying sorry, I'm sorry. Saying I'm sorry, and they were like, no, it's fine, you didn't. I was like, I should have just stayed the night. I should have just got my sleeping bag out. And they were like, no, you couldn't have. You couldn't have stayed out with a broken ankle in this weather. You know, you go into shock. You get freezing. You end up with hypothermia. So yeah, if you ever have the chance to donate to Mountain Rescue, please donate to Mountain Rescue, especially if you do outdoor stuff, because I can guarantee at least 1 out of 10 people, if you're constantly going outside, 1 out of 10 of us is going to need Mountain Rescue at some point for some reason. Whether you get lost, whether you get injured, whether it's as simple as seeing a Mountain Rescue van and asking for directions because they were really nice and they know the lay of the land where they are. Go and donate to Mountain Rescue, please. You know, because they don't get that much money. They don't get that many volunteers. And I mean, volunteer. If you're an outdoors person and you really want to help, go and volunteer. Because those guys kick ass. They really do. They're really awesome. I hope I've explained well. And thank you for watching.